This is a video for anybody who's moving to the Middle East and wants to get an idea about what to expect there. Now, people are different in their attitudes when they move somewhere new, they start a new life, they start a new job. Some people like to go in with a totally open mind, no preconceptions, and I get that. But most people want to learn a bit and do a bit of research about where they're going, what it's going to be like. And I've lived in the Middle East for a long time. I've lived in Kuwait, I've lived in UAE. Right now I'm in Doha, Qatar, or aka Qatar. Now, there's a few things which stand out for me as things to be aware of before you come here, and the first one, I'm going to go straight into it, is the heat. This cannot be overstated. Like, the heat here is unreal. And if you think, oh well, that's fine, you know, I've been to Spain on holiday, I've been to Portugal, I've been to Florida, I've been to, like, I don't know, northern Australia, like, on holiday, like, forget it. You haven't experienced heat like this. I mean, I'm in winter right now and it's hot. It's really hot. In the summer I'm talking like anything after April is summer. The heat is pretty much unbearable. It's so hot, like you can't go outdoors, and if you do, you kind of feel a bit sick, you feel a bit ill. I personally enjoy the heat, and I'm definitely more of a hot person than a cold person, in that is to say I would choose heat over cold, but I cannot stress enough how hot it's going to be when you get here. So that's the first thing to kind of be aware of. Like, it will be 40, 50 degrees Celsius, which is well over 100 Fahrenheit. I think it's about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay, the next thing is money. Now, if you're coming to the Middle East, and by the way, I should point out, when I say Middle East, I'm talking about countries like the Gulf. I'm talking about Kuwait, UAE, Oman, all the Emirates, so Sharjah, Dubai, Ras Al Khaimah, Abu Dhabi, Qatar. All of these countries I'm kind of putting into one category because that's where I have my experience in. And what draws people here tends to be salaries, the money. Okay, and people come here, they see the salary and they're like, oh, I'm going to save loads of money, and a lot of people do, but it doesn't happen by accident. It doesn't happen automatically. And in actual fact, the number of people I know who have been here for 5, 10, maybe even 15 years and have barely saved anything is actually quite high. Now, you've got to be really careful because there are several worlds which exist in countries like Kuwait, like Qatar. Like, there's the kind of expat world. There's and when I say expat, there's obviously, you've got Asian expats, you've got Western expats, you've got South Asian expats, you've got East Asian expats, you've got Western expats, you've got expats from all over the world. Now, depending on how you live and how frugal you are, or what's the opposite of frugal, like this you are, basically, then you might come back and have very little saved. So it's not a given that you're going to save a lot of money. You've got to be really careful to not just kind of live the high life, because if you're coming here like working for a bank, then yeah, you'll get loads of money, you'll save a lot, and of course you'll go home a happy, wealthy person, man or woman. But if you're a teacher, which is what I've been doing, like, you'll be earning good money, but it's not exactly enough to like retire off after 5-10 years, put it that way. Unless having said that, you could if you're like really, really, really careful, but that's, I guess, a different video. Third is traffic. Now, traffic rules here are probably quite different to where you come from. The traffic here is mental, it's crazy. There are no rules in you kind of just try not to hit the car in front. Like, if there's a give way, you don't really give way. Americans would say yield. If there's a yield, you don't really yield. You just drive, and you just pull out in front of people, and you're constantly looking out for people who are going to cut you up. And it's quite an experience just to even ride from the taxi from the airport to your hotel or whatever, because you'll notice it straight away. Driving, unfortunately, the number of deaths, per 100,000 people in places like Kuwait, in Qatar, UAE, are pretty high relative to most of the world. So driving here, you can do it, and most people who come and live here do get a car, but be aware that it's quite dangerous and the rules here are quite different. I should just point out, by the way, midway through the video, that if you do have any specific questions for myself, who's an expat, been living in the Middle East for many years, about life in the Middle East, anything at all, you can join my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Arabic Mike. You send me a message on there and I'll get back to you within 24 hours. I'll give you advice. I can talk to you about Arabic language learning, about life in the Middle East. Any of your questions, I hope I can answer. So check that out, and hope to see you on Patreon very soon. Now, talking about rules, I think we're on number 4 now already. Rules are flexible here, and you'll understand what I mean when you come, but like, depending on which company you work for and how kind of like important you appear because of your job, then you will get treated differently. And there is a definite hierarchy of how, talking about traffic, there's just a lot of people beep as well. It happens all the time. There's always beeping, which you don't get in England so much. Going back to the hierarchy thing, you know, there is a hierarchy, and you will find yourself skipping queues for apparently no reason, and you will find yourself being treated very differently. Now that can work for you or it can work against you. Like, I've just gone to get breakfast literally half an hour ago, and I ordered some Indian food from an Indian restaurant because I happen just to love Indian food, and the prices were all there, and I had two samosas. One was like chicken and egg, one was like banana, and then I had a smoothie with like a juice and a cup of tea. The menu was there, and I looked at it, and it was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It should have been like 9 or 10 reals, right? And I'm paying on card. I give him my card, and he says, looks at me and goes, 22 altogether. I said, sorry? He said, 22 altogether. So, sorry, 22? Like, I mean, like, let's be honest, like, it's a pretty cheap breakfast either way, but why have you just doubled the price when that guy just paid 8 for the same thing, or probably more? Like, and so they will try and like stitch you up. In the end, I just had a laugh with him, and I was like, look, how can it be 5 for him and 20 for me? Like, that's not fair, is it? And I pointed to the menu. I was like, look, you know, smoothies 5, this, blah, blah, blah. I was like, it's 9 or 10. And he's like, oh, have you only got 10? I was like, yeah, I pay what it is. It's 10. And he's like, okay, 10 then. So he's literally just doubled the price because I'm white and because I'm from UK. So you do get those kind of things. Just something to be aware of. I'm not saying that that's going to happen to you. And to be honest, you know, that's a rare thing, but it can happen, and there is a definite hierarchy in that, depending on where you are, whether you dress in a suit or not, like the way you look and the company you work for, you will get treated slightly differently. So that's something to look out for. Okay, number 5 was, yeah, there are really lots of different worlds here, and just not really like this is more of a general point about expat life and how a lot of people just live in their own boxes. And when I say boxes, I mean literally like a square box between, for example, their apartment, their work, the nearest Carrefour supermarket, and the health club. And you'll find people who have been here for many years and have never ventured outside of that box. They've never ventured outside of that box. Now, if you come here and you're coming here for the sun, the weather, the money, and the food and the malls, like, great, you're going to have a great time. If you'd like to see a bit more, then I would encourage you to like venture out a bit more and just walk down some streets you'd never normally go down and check it out for yourself. I made a video called Living in Kuwait, which you can see up there. I also teach Arabic, so if you want to learn some Arabic, you can do that as well. I've got loads of Arabic phrases over there, so you can check that out. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting. Leave a comment because I do read them, and until next time, I hope that was helpful, and bye bye, ma'a salama.